Hey everybody, this is John Scarborough. I'm back again with the Zenith carburetor here. I made a video earlier of me taking this off. I will leave in the comments whether or not I posted that video. If that video didn't turn out too well, then I won't post it. And if this video doesn't turn out well enough, then I won't post it either. In which case, I'm just talking to myself for an extended period of time, and that is kind of weird. So hopefully I am actually in here showing y'all a good video. This is a Zenith carburetor, like I had said. It is a typical carburetor that you'll see, this carburetor. I really hope that y'all can see that well. If y'all see me kind of pausing or looking, I'm just trying to make sure that y'all can get a good frame, a good picture of all that. It's kind of hard to do this. I've actually watched mechanic videos before and kind of thought it was kind of hard to see it, and now I have a new appreciation right now as I'm watching this, kind of as I'm seeing it on the screen there, of how difficult it is to have your hands greasy, nasty, dirty, and trying to put out good content like this. But anyway, the reason I'm doing this is a carburetor. It come off of my 1961 red face 200, but this is a very typical carburetor that you're going to see on a lot of older small tractors. And if any of y'all are thinking about, most of my viewers are in farming or just starting in farming, or they've been in it for a while and they're looking for cheaper options for getting into for staying in it, or they've been in it for a while. And if they are, a lot of times what the good options are these cheaper gasoline tractors, some of the older ones. These carburetors, you're going to find this on quite a few of those older tractors. You're going to find it on all of those older weld machines for quite a few years into quite a, I'm not sure when they stopped putting this on there, but it was on there for quite a while. Anyway, you will see this a lot, and I'm pretty sure you can pick up rebuild kits even in Tractor Supply, but I'm not sure. But I know you can get rebuild kits all around for them. But anyway, I just wanted to show y'all a quick video of this. Typically, I don't have to rebuild one of these. Most of the time, I can open it up and clean it up, and then I'm usually pretty good about not tearing up my gaskets. And then I can put it all back together and it's good to go again. However, there has been a time or two I will mess up a gasket. And if you damage it at all, you want to make sure you change it for sure. But if you don't damage it, I have had good luck with not changing them. In fact, crazy story, I actually put one together that was, I pulled off the old one and it was still in decent shape, and then I put a new one on. Well, that new one, something about it just didn't quite work right, and it actually leaked a little bit. Now that's pretty rare, but that is what happened, and then I put the old one back on, and it was just fine. So it's like the old mechanic saying, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So in a lot of other cases, like on engines and head gaskets and things like that, a lot of times they do tell you it is better to change the gaskets no matter what. But in this case, on a lot of these old carburetors, I've never seen it as a necessity. If they come out good, then I don't worry about it. And I've never had an issue out of it. So I'm going to go ahead and start breaking this down. And usually it's pretty simple. You just bumped my phone with my head, guys. I apologize for that. So I hope that you can see these screws pretty well. It's just a flathead screw. There's nothing complicated about it. It's just 4 screws here. And you just pop these babies out. Real easy. Nothing. This is actually a very simple carburetor. And most carburetors are simple. Now, a lot of the newer fuel injection and stuff, that stuff is definitely better in a lot of ways, in my opinion. And easier to work on and stuff like, well, no, not easier to work on, but better in a lot of ways, simply because a lot of times you don't have to work on them nearly as much. And I actually really like diesel better than I do gas for the most part. I find it simpler and easier, and I find I have less issues out of it. However, with gas, if you do have issues out of it, it usually is cheaper and easier to work on. Whereas a diesel, when you do have that problem, it is going to be more expensive. So it's just kind of whatever has been your experience. My experience has been that I think I've spent less money on repairs. I definitely had less issues on repairs with when it comes to that. So I just popped that open, but first I'm going to try to get this gasket off. Now, normally I would not touch this gasket at all, guys, but in this case, I'm actually not gonna, I'm gonna show y'all what I normally would do, but I'm not gonna do what I would normally do. I'm actually gonna use, see if I can get this into frame here. I'm gonna use this Chem dip right here. Got gas everywhere. It's very difficult to do this. Anyway, it's just Chem dip is all it is. I've never used Chem dip before. My brother I have a couple brothers that are mechanics, really good mechanics, and they suggested using Chem dip on these if you're trying to clean them up, especially if you have one that you just can't seem to get cleaned up. I'm gonna reach over here and grab a rag, and I'll just let that drain off for just a minute. The problem with using the Chem dip is now that means that I have to take my gaskets off, because usually these gaskets are intact right here, and I don't ever have to worry about that. So I'm gonna have to go on ahead and get this gasket off. But typically all I would do from this point, guys, it is actually really simple. I'm gonna go on ahead and I'm gonna take this. I don't even always take this off right here, but a lot of times I do. But what I like to do is take this and just, this actually looks all original, guys. Normally I'm used to seeing a metal one here. I mean a steel pin here, but this one is still the copper one. So that's kind of impressive. Usually you find that pin has been replaced. This machine may not have ever had a whole lot of work done to it. But what I would do is I would just blow out all of my jets. So you can see right there. I'm hoping that you can see it. If you look. Let's see. And we'll try to point at it. It's down in there underneath. There's a jet right there in the middle there. You want to blow that out. You just go through and blow your jets out, but you want to check this. This is your float. You want to check and make sure that it doesn't have any cogs on it. One time I had an issue I just couldn't figure out. I could not get it solved, and it was a big aggravation for sure. But I finally found out that all I had was a tiny, tiny little cog on this pin, and that's why a lot of times your rebuild kits will have these new pins in there. But it was just a tiny little abrasion or something just right there inside that pin, and it was causing this to stick. And when that float doesn't work right, well then obviously that becomes a problem, because that has a deal right behind there. So I do actually always take this off, and then I blow this out in the back. So I'm gonna go ahead and remove that. You want to be careful. You want to be doing it on a nice flat spot here, and then you've got this right here. Okay, you want to be real careful not to damage that or to lose it. That's the easiest thing to do, is to lose it. It's got this little spring there, or a little hook or whatever it is. But you want to inspect this. This is one of the most important things on this carburetor. If I can get it into frame, it's a point, but it's a rubber point. If that looks damaged in any way, you probably need to change that. That would definitely be an issue that you're going to be having with your machine. It's probably going to be causing flooding more than anything. So expect that. That's the number one thing that I do here. Is one of the things that I do is I inspect that point. I inspect this. If it has anything on it and you don't have a rebuild kit, you can usually sand it clean fairly easy. This feels pretty good to me. I like to look this over, make sure there's no issues here. It's usually not that big of an issue, but I like to blow this out right here good. And I like to blow out all of that, and then I'll flip it over and I'll blow this one out good and look inside here and just blow the thing nice and clean. And then I usually like to spray it with some WD-40 or something like that a couple times and blow it Don't mess with all of this. If you don't know that, these are set screws and adjustments. You don't want to mess with any of that. Leave all that kind of stuff alone. Leave this stuff alone. If you don't have to touch it, don't. Okay? So I just blow that kind of stuff out. It's usually not that hard, but what the best ways to do this, what I usually do is, because I'm off of my welding rig, I'll just take my torch. Don't turn your gas on. Don't turn anything on, obviously. You don't want it to be burning. That would be dangerous. I take my torch with just the oxygen, okay, and I put right on there in the edge. Make sure you never even turn your acetylene on. Don't even turn your acetylene bottle on. Obviously, you don't want any flame anywhere near this. So if you don't, if you don't feel safe doing that, obviously don't do it. But that's what I do. I'm not telling you to do that. But I do the oxygen on my torch, and I just put it right there on the edge and blow pressure through there. And usually that's enough, and I can clean all of my ports out. But what also works really good if I'm in my shop is just to take my air compressor, and that's what I would advise you to do, is to take your air compressor with that little rubber tip and stick it down to each one of those. Honestly, that works just a smidge better. Stick that down in there and clean that up good, okay? And just blow those out good. Usually there's just a small little piece of trash in there or something. And then you've got this part right here. You got your bowl and all like this, and then you've got more of this, and you can tell that these look like, this carburetor to me looks like it has not been opened up in a long time. And the fact that it's still got that brass pin, I'm gonna say that this machine has probably hasn't been used just a whole lot, which is a good sign for me. But then obviously you want to blow this one out. I like to blow air through these just because, and I like to just blow all in here and blow all of that out. Clean all, just clean all of that out if you've got any old grime or residue. But what I'm actually going to do with this one, guys, well, just real quick, I'll go ahead and say it. Once you're done with that, you can pretty much just do everything I did in reverse, put it back together, and then put it all back on. If y'all would like to see all of that, you're probably going to be out of luck. I'm probably not going to put it on there because I'm actually going to soak this in Chem Dip, and then I'm going to do that. But if I think it's worth doing and both of these videos turned out good, then I may go ahead and post another video and y'all can watch that long video of me doing all of that. But as you can see, guys, these are very simple. There's nothing complicated about them. They're really easy. But my last step is I'm just going to get a clean bowl. This thing looks dirty because it's got all that in there, but it's clean. It just won't, it's just old stains. But I'm going to get that, and I'm actually, let me put it back in frame here, and I'm actually going to put all this down in here. I'll have to get all my gaskets off and everything. Put all that down in there, and I'm going to soak it in Chem Dip overnight. That's what my brother was telling me really works really good if you've got a dirty carburetor. And this carburetor, this whole system to me looks like it hasn't been messed with or touched at all. So I'm going to just go on ahead and do that. It's supposed to be pretty good stuff, so I'm going to give it a try. But typically these are very easy to clean out. I mean, I have done this on the side of the road, guys. This is not that difficult to do. I've done it when I was right there at a job site. It's, so don't be scared of it. If you got an old tractor or something with this, very easy to clean out. And one last little tip. If you do have one of these, an older tractor, an older machine with, well, a Zenith carburetor, but really with any carburetor, and you're having issues with it, typically it's because either there's trash in that fuel tank, so you may need to clean that out, or a lot of times it's just because that gas will start to gum up inside that carburetor or something like that. I find that if I'm not going to use that piece of equipment for very long, for like a month, if I'm not going to use it once a week, I'll actually turn that gas knob off and let it kill itself from that, okay? If I'm only going to use it, if I'm using it once a week, I don't do that. I won't actually turn it off and let it kill itself. I'll just, after I flip the switch and turn it off, then I'll go ahead and turn that off as well. But just turning that little gas knob off can make a huge difference because it dries all of this out and sucks all that gas out of there, and then it won't ever gum up. So if you do have one of those and you just keep on having issues, just try that. That usually makes it a lot better and simpler. But anyway, guys, I do hope that this has helped. And don't forget to like and subscribe.